Rocky, one of the original fashion influencers, manifester, mom, and friend.
Hello.
You good?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Hi, Rocky.
Hello. How's it going?
Great. How about you?
I'm doing okay.
Thanks for joining me for an evening chat.
I love this. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I wanted you to come on the show because you're epic. You're fashionable.
Thank you.
And you have a lot inside to share. We met. How did we meet?
Well, we have a lot of mutual friends. And I swear I've seen you sing somewhere.
Probably.
I've seen you at events, but we finally got to chat. And I feel like then we sealed the deal.
Yeah, we were like,
that was it.
Hey,
I'm like,
we could be friends.
Yes. And that lunch ended up being really fun, the conversations we had. We were talking about manifestation, and my crazy manifestation story was I was telling you how my mom showed me The Secret when I was in high school. And she was super into Anthony Robbins, Hay House, all that stuff. And she made my brother and I watch The Secret. And at that age, I was probably 14 or 15. And you kind of take everything your parents say with whatever, mom, this is so weird. You're a weird hippie. But then at the same time, I was like, well, look at all of the stuff that they're doing with this. Anthony Robbins is talking about getting your dream house, your dream car, your dream life. And I was like, okay, well, it can't hurt, right? So I feel like I kind of carried that idea with me for a while, but it wasn't really until I was in college. I was kind of forced to think about what I wanted to do with my life. And I really had no idea. And I feel like that kind of made me reassess everything and kind of decide what I wanted from my life. And at that point, three things for sure. I was kind of going out of high school into college, figuring out what I wanted for my life. I knew I wanted to travel the world. I knew I wanted to be financially independent. And the last one is the scary, trippy one for me, but knew I wanted to have an influence in fashion.
So you wanted an influence in fashion before there were influencers, correct?
Yeah, I think the word influence for me at the moment was vague, right? I knew I wanted to be in fashion. I was obsessed with fashion since I was a little girl, but I wasn't sure in what aspects. The things I thought I wanted, I learned through modeling, I didn't actually want. And so I knew I wanted to have a say, some sort of power. But I think the word that's resonated with me was influence. And the wild, crazy thing is that this was 2002, Instagram, social media, none of these things were even around. I think MySpace was happening and there was no influencer community. And then fast forward, 2010, I started my blog. Now we're in 2024. I have over 3.5 million followers on Instagram and was one of the OG fashion girls. And it's seeing those words that were vague and open to me at the time become so literal in my life. For me, influence was so vague, but now it is so specific. It is a literal title for my job. And that to me, gives me the chills still.
Me too.
It gives me the chills. And I remember my mom used to make vision boards and do all this stuff. But I remember watching in The Secret how they were saying that you can really hone in on the feeling that you want from your life. And I was like, well, that sounds the easiest thing. I don't have to make a collage or do any of this stuff. And then it's still kind of just a secret for me, right? I don't have to share it. It's not something someone can find in a diary or see on a vision board. It can still be inside of me and be a secret. So after college, I was modeling, working in 2 restaurants, doing marketing, hustling. And I would drive from San Diego to LA, back and forth, just focusing on how I wanted my life to feel with these things, traveling, making money, having influence in fashion. And I remember just getting excited, as if you were going on a first date or you're going to a party in high school, that kind of excitement for what's to come. You can make yourself feel like that, thinking about something exciting that's gonna come true. And I don't think I realized it at the time, but now I realize that I was like creating these vibrations within myself. And those are what you're putting out into the universe, and you're vibrating on a higher level, I guess. I'm not super like knowledgeable about that into the terminology, but I was like vibrating these manifestations out into the universe.
I think it's so interesting because from like a layman's perspective, it's more attainable even than The Secret, your story. For so long, I've been thinking about what I want my life to be. And I built my life. You know, I built my family, I built my business, I built my singing career. And I really wanted to make a shift and do this show. But I was missing the feeling. Yeah. I've been missing the feeling for so long. And through these interviews that I'm having, I'm realizing that was the missing piece for me. I needed to wake up feeling like I was where I wanted to be already.
Yeah.
I was where I needed to be. You know what I mean? It was, for me, it was a feeling. That's why it really resonated. And then everyone was like, you should interview her.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I feel like part of it too was just, I was so just at the mercy of the universe because I had no clue what I wanted. And I think part of like letting go and just getting excited for that feeling of what your life's going to be, but like letting go was really big for me because what I wanted wasn't even around then. Like it opened up a possibility that wasn't even an option in our world at the time. And I feel like really surrendering myself in that way gave me something bigger than I thought I could even have. Like it just, you don't even realize the possibilities of what your potential can be. Like if you're limiting yourself to being like, oh, well, this is a job now, that's what I want to do. It's like what I was feeling and putting out there wasn't even around. And yet here we are now. Like that to me, just like, it blows my mind.
It blows my mind too.
Yeah.
And you said like, I can't make a vision board for someone to see and judge. I don't want to do a journal entry for someone to find and whatever, feel like they're seeing me through my words. For me, feeling that feeling, manifesting that feeling, that's the hardest part. For you, it's easier for me to feel, but for me, because when I'm on stage, I have to be super connected to myself and then therefore connected to the audience. If I start thinking about what's for dinner for the kids, the song doesn't come out as strong. So that feeling, that connection is like, for me, that's homework. That's hard work.
Well, I think you actually have to really believe it to like get that excitement going. And I think that's also part of it. You have to really, truly believe in yourself. And if you don't, if there's like, oh, this is like a lie or some sort of imposter syndrome or any of that, it's like you have to really get excited. I don't know. It's hard. You know that feeling. I think everyone knows that feeling, like the first kiss or like you get those butterflies. That was the feeling I was giving myself. Just sitting there like daydreaming and getting, and listen, at the time I had like 3 hours back and forth from San Diego to LA. So I was doing a lot of it. There was a lot of feelings happening.
Yeah.
But it ended up really kind of working out. And
so what were the small steps? Like, how did you know where to go and how did you stay with the feeling? Because I know you said you became like quickly the face of Billabong.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously everything comes with like hard work. I was putting myself out there. I was working 4 jobs at the time. I was one of the earlier adapters to social media. Like every girl that I was modeling with was like, I'm not doing Instagram. I'm private. I don't like to share my life. Blah, blah, blah. And I go, you realize you get to decide exactly what you share, right? Like they're not like going into your camera roll, like, and posting all this stuff. I'm like, you can curate everything. It's your voice. It's your decision, how much and how little you want to share, but you can put it out there. It doesn't have to be so personal. Like I was putting up portfolio photos that my agency hated, that I loved. That was like, oh, I think I look good here. Everyone else doesn't. And it was like me just creating my own visual portfolio for myself. And that kind of, I think working really hard at that. And when social media did come along, I started having people be like, oh, I'll send you a bikini for free. You take a photo. And I was like, that is so cool. I get a free bikini. And then you look at it now and people are having, careers making millions of dollars from it. It's like seeing it start at that, like stoked on a free bikini to now traveling the world, getting paid to go to events and working with like amazing brands. It's been like a 10-year progression. It's not like an overnight thing, but it was the Wild West, but I kind of like wrote it out. It's been really fun.
And it's seeing the opportunity where the opportunity lies.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's also taking chances, and everyone now wants to do everything because it's paid. And I'm like, you have to like put yourself out there and see what's going on. And I think giving as much as you're getting is really important. Like if you're not giving anything or putting anything out there, like why are people going to want for you to be part of what they're doing? Like you have to give both ways. You want to get jobs, you have to put some stuff out there that's like you're passionate about and love. And I think that's what keeps it all flowing. That it's what's worked for me. Like my biggest thing is I will never just have sponsor content. Like I still get really excited about putting an outfit together and like finding a new piece and styling something. Like I still get really excited and just like want to be in my closet playing dress up.
That's great. So the magic isn't lost. I mean, you still travel. Where were you last week, but 2 weeks ago?
We travel a lot. We were in Finland and then the East Coast for the holidays. And then we took the boys to Disney World. I have 2 little boys.
Yeah. Fun.
So yeah, I think it really has all come to fruition. I always keep telling myself I need to like dream bigger. And I just maybe don't have as much time anymore with 2 kids to dream bigger. I'm like, I don't have those 3 hours from San Diego to LA to like just sit and think about what I want, but I do still get excited. And I think the excitement is still, pushing me forward.
So it's like staying in the excitement without too much of a vision, just really holding on to that feeling. And so do you do it at all anymore or not really?
I do. I get excited about
getting dressed.
That, but I think now my excitement has been based off like my gratitude. Like I wake up every morning and I'm like, I have a fucking sick life. Like this is so cool. I get to do exactly what I want. I have a beautiful family. I am fed. I have a roof over my head. I'm so grateful and lucky for what I have. And like, I get excited thinking about like what I've created and what I have. And I think that to me just keeps it going. And I think it keeps bringing more and more into my life.
Yeah, for sure. That's so beautiful that you are really like steeped in the present.
When you're so excited about how amazing of a life you have, and it's not about things, it's about just waking up and just being grateful. I think it's easy to keep that like vibration and excitement going.
Yeah.
I have to remind my husband all the time.
Right. Of course. That's you're the cheerleader.
I know. He has so much power in him. And I'm always like, I was saying this at lunch. I was like, if he would just like focus that on the positive, he could like manifest so much.
I know. But everybody's on their own path and their own time.
Not everyone can be the positive one in the relationship either, right?
Yeah. It's also a lot of work to live the life you want to live. I was a singer on American Idol, and then I started singing in weddings and like anthems and stuff. And then like 2 years later, I was like a wedding singer. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And then I met my husband, and kind of at the same time, I was like, I'm going to be the booking agent that was booking myself. Now I have this agency and we do these private events. I'm so grateful to my business because it taught me so many things, but it's time for me to reclaim my career, so not everyone can sit in that feeling and then go and then have a massive career and then have kids. Sometimes it comes for your husband and me in their 40s, or you know what I mean?
Well, listen, I'm not saying like everything is perfect in my life. It's definitely not. Like people have been telling me for the past 10 years, your career is going to end. Like Instagram's going to go away. Like, what are you going to do when social media is done?
Who says that?
Everybody for like the past
That's
10
not
years.
Nice.
No, but think about it. No one thought that Instagram was ever going to get to this point. Everyone was like, this is such a fad. We're so sick of influencers.
I know, but you'll go to do something else.
Well, but I've been hearing this for 10 years. So like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do if this all goes to shit? Like I started a website because I'm like, what if everything, blows up, and how are people going to find me? How do I like sustain this? And I think that, you still have doubts and you still have ideas, but I think that I actually at this point have no idea what I want for my next step. Like it's something that I've been thinking about because everyone's always telling me, what are you going to do next? Are you going to have a product and a line, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And this is the same feeling I fucking had in college. I'm like, I don't know what I want next. I just know how I want to feel. And I'm like, I'm waiting for my gut to be like, that's it. That's the next thing. But until then, I'm just going to keep chugging along.
That's the next thing that I'm going to reinvent myself.
Yeah, but I haven't found it yet.
And you will. And
I'm not worried about it. It'll happen.
That's also your power, because most people are crippled with anxiety, of lack of clarity.
I have a lack of clarity. I have no fucking clue what I want my career to turn into.
Same.
I had a brand momentarily. I hated it. I hated wearing the same clothes over and over again.
You had your
because I wanted to constantly be creating an outfit. For me, it's maybe wasteful to never wear the same thing twice, but like for me, it's not about the clothes. It's like being creative. It's like my outlet. So to have to like redo the same thing over and over again, I felt like stifled as a creative. And like, that's where I am able to like enjoy my career. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I know what I don't want.
Right. Well, that's important.
I know what I don't want to do, but it's like pretty much everything that a traditional influencer like segues into. So I'm just waiting for that next thing to like hit me.
Maybe be an actress.
I don't know. I'll know. My gut will kick in. It'll happen. And until then, I'm just grateful and kind of chugging along.
So for people that are in the influencing social media world, or people that want to get into it, what advice can you give to them? Not what to do, when to post, how to post. What can they do to get their images out there?
I feel like this is like the question that everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know like the secret to it. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do? And there's really like, everyone always says the same thing. They're like, you just have to be authentic. You just have to be true to yourself. Just do what you love. But I think you really have to have a perspective, and you actually really have to love what you're sharing. And I think that you can't do it for the benefits of it, because so many people are like, I just want to get free shit, or I want to do this. It's like that. You can't do that. That's not going to make you successful, because you are doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, you can't go into anything for the benefits of it. You have to actually love what you're doing. And listen, it's changed so much over the years since I started. Like, when I started, it was about taking pretty photos, and that was enough for people. But like, I think the biggest thing now is just being able to teach people, and to people want to learn. People want to either learn or be entertained. They want you to bring something to the table, more so than just like selling or whatever. And it's so funny. I just watched the Martha Stewart documentary, and everyone talking about her as the original influencer. I was like, she was. It's so true. She was so true to herself. She loved what she did, and that resonated with people. And I feel like what she shared with everyone was really what her life was.
The message was what she wanted to share.
And it's what her life was. I think so many people are trying to put on this perfect persona for Instagram in order for people to like them. And I go, they want to see you. And I think that's where people are missing the authenticity. It's like, they don't want to see the perfect version of you. And listen, I'm one to talk. My Instagram feed's pretty fucking perfect, but they want to see your perspective, and they want to see what you're passionate about. And I think that's really the way to get in it. And just also consistency. You have to like really lean into it. You have to give. You can't expect everything to just be a job all of a sudden. Like, you know how long it took me to get paid for stuff? My husband still yells at me for going and doing stuff for free. And he's like, you're not getting paid. You're not getting paid. I'm like, but it will come around. And that's part of this community so much. Like, you have to create those relationships with brands, with people, and it all comes full circle.
For people that are dealing with self-doubt, even execution, do you have any advice?
Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Like, everyone doubts themselves. I doubt myself. Like, I'm in a room with like other girls that have like millions more followers than me, or going to Fashion Week is the perfect example. I feel like a loser at Fashion Week because I'm like, I'm not at that show. Why'd she get invited? Not me. That she got the outfit I requested. Obviously she's better than me. It's just like constantly creating self-doubt. And I try and keep my my focus on myself and not compare, which is hard. But I think everyone has that feeling and you just have to kind of focus on yourself. If you're like comparing yourself to all the other girls, you'll feel like shit.
You can't compare.
Yeah. And I tell my girlfriends it's scary because I'm one of those girls on Instagram that everyone aspires to be and like wants what I'm wearing, what I'm doing, and all this stuff.
Your cute family.
I have a beautiful family. I'm not gonna lie, but I get insecure looking at Instagram, and it makes me feel bad. And I'm like, if I'm the aspirational person and it makes me feel bad, I can't imagine how some of these younger girls feel looking at it, because I'm the one behind the curtain, and I know what it takes for all of this to happen, and I still get insecure. So imagine someone who doesn't know how hard creating these images are and how much work and how it's not that easy. And she doesn't really look like that. Or, you know, she had a whole team, but she had a whole glam team and like a photographer. It's like
the wind blowing.
Yeah. Like I know everything behind the curtain and they don't. And I feel bad sometimes. So it's hard. It's hard.
It's fear mongering. I don't love the gram for that reason. I try to not consume that much, to be honest.
You got to really work your algorithm these days.
You really do.
You have to really pay attention, because sometimes my algorithm's like spot on and I'm like, this is good shit. Like I'm really liking all of it. And then sometimes like you go down a wormhole about something. Like my girlfriends and I were all like, how does Lindsay Lohan look so good? How does she look so good? We need to find her doctor. And then all of a sudden my algorithm is like all these plastic surgery things. And I'm like, okay,
because it listens to you.
I need to rework my algorithm. So it's like you have control over your algorithm on how you spend your time on Instagram. So being able to focus your energy will create like what you want, which is kind of what we're talking about, I guess.
Full circle.
The Instagram algorithm is manifesting.
I travel a lot too, and I have kids, and I never look like you when I travel. Like you pull out cashmere gowns when you're in Finland. I'm like, how do you get organized? How do you get inspired? Even today, you have a little pop-in outfit on.
So
how do you do it? And how do you build a wardrobe and get organized for travel?
Well, my job, I'm very lucky in my job because, you know, brands are constantly sending me stuff. And so I have you know, clothes on clothes at my disposal to play with, which is not normal for most people. But you
still have to put it together.
But I still have to put it together. And I was telling the girls earlier that like I got complimented on my jacket. I'm like, my favorite thing to do right now is when I see something I love, I go on Etsy and find like the vintage one of a kind version of it. And then you kind of go down a wormhole and find, like, that's how I love to find really cool vintage. But back to what you were saying about the travel, I plan out everything before I travel, head to toe, what I'm wearing, set it out. Like, I'm not one of those girls who's like, oh, this is a cute jacket. That's a cute pair of pants. I'll figure it out when I get there.
Yeah, I am.
No, because I don't want to waste my time stressing about that. I want to maximize my traveling time. Don't want to waste time not feeling confident about what I'm wearing, not being cold because I didn't bring a jacket. So I plan everything out head to toe. And when I get there, I unpack. And then I'm like, here's a daytime look. Here's a nighttime look, pool look. Done. And also when you have little kids, who has time to sit there and think about what you're wearing? Who has
time prior?
And who has time to think about stuff when you have kids screaming and everything?
Yeah.
So I take the time ahead when I'm packing and I plan everything out, and it just makes everything easier.
What do you think every woman needs in her wardrobe?
A good pair of jeans. I think every woman feels really comfortable in a good pair of jeans. And I think jeans make everything look a little cooler.
They do.
They kind of just like bring it down and look, you're not trying so hard.
We're really LA girls with our jeans.
Yeah. But jeans are having like a moment. Like everything is kind of changing right now. So you have to stay on top of your pair of jeans.
Like I don't really wear fashion. I'm a classic girl. Like I love fashion, but I love a certain type of thing for me. Can somebody kind of move to different jeans and be like a slave to fashion without looking like a slave to fashion?
Well, I think there's always different trends, but I think specifically for jeans, it depends on your body type. I think you have to find what works for you, but then you play within that, right? Like you're tall, you probably can wear any type of jean, but like, but I'm a high-waisted girl. I can wear baggy, I can wear tight, but I like know for my body type, I like high-waisted. So you can find what works for you, and then you kind of work the trends and see what trends work for you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you stay true to yourself and then see what trends work for you.
I like that.
Then you don't have to like feel like you're not yourself,
No.
because then you won't feel comfortable. And that's the opposite of what you're trying to do by getting dressed.
You mentioned that you don't really know where you're headed in your career.
No.
Your career is popping. Do you know where you're headed in your heart? Like, are you manifesting anything internally with your family?
To be honest, one of my priorities going into the new year is taking time to like reevaluate all that and take time to figure out what I want to get excited about. I feel like I haven't even given myself the time to sit with it. And I think it's really important for me to like create that time for myself, because as a busy mom, you know how it is. Like at the end of the day, you just want to like zone out and not do anything. I need to prioritize manifesting for myself. That's like my New Year's resolution.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Everyone needs to like refocus on it and come back to it. It doesn't have to be all the time, and it doesn't have to be once a week, twice a week. Like it can be once a year.
Right. It's not like you just do it once, driving 3 hours to San Diego and back, and then you get a great 10 years in your professional life.
Well, I was doing that for like 10 years.
Right. Doing that for 10 years. And then
But I had that goal for 10 years. I had that goal for 10 years.
Right. But it's a constant evolution. You constantly have to manifest. You constantly have to level up. If you want to ride on the train, you got to keep getting on it.
I know. I need to get back on the train. I need to like, that's my thing. Because I've taken a little bit of a breather. I feel like since I've had kids, I've kind of just been like treading water.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that now it's like kind of the time where I need to figure out give myself something to dream about.
Well, we're all waiting to see where you go next.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll let you know. You'll be part of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're now in my world. We're all in each other's world.
I know. So lucky. Thank you for joining me today.
Of course, this is so fun.
Tonight.
This evening.
This is